Good afternoon. I'm Kenya McDuffie, at-large council member and chair of the council's Committee on Business and Economic Development. Today is Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, and we're convening this roundtable in person in room 123 of the John A. Wilson Building. The time is 12:05 p.m., and I'm calling this public roundtable to order. Today, the committee will receive testimony on a single measure. It's PR 25-637. The Director of the Department of Small and Local Business Development, Rosemary Suggs Evans, confirmation resolution of 2024. We do not have any public witnesses that have signed up to testify on this resolution. We're going to consider this resolution. This proposed resolution was introduced on February 12th, 2024 by Chairman Mendelson at the request of the mayor and referred to the committee on February 16th of this year. This proposed resolution would confirm the appointment of Rosemary Suggs Evans as Director of the Department of Small Local Business Development to serve at the pleasure of the mayor. Ms. Suggs Evans has served as the interim director of DSLBD since last year and previously served as deputy director and as chief of staff of the agency before becoming interim director. She's been an advocate for DC small businesses and local retail businesses throughout the entire city. Before her time with DSLBD, Ms. Suggs Evans served the District of Columbia within the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Greater Economic Opportunity and as a Certified Business Compliance Officer for the Department of General Services. Ms. Suggs Evans received her Bachelor of Science from the Howard University in Business Administration, and she is a resident of Ward 4. With that, I'm going to turn to Ms. Suggs Evans for her testimony. As is customary, when a person is a government witness, we like to swear them in. And so I'm going to ask that you raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of law that the testimony you're about to provide to the Council of the District of Columbia and the Committee on Business and Economic Development is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. And you can begin your testimony.
Good afternoon, Chairperson McDuffie, members of the Committee on Business and Economic Development, residents of the District of Columbia, and the local business community. My name is Rosemary Suggs Evans, and I have the privilege of serving as Acting Director for the Department of Small and Local Business, widely known as DSLBD. I am grateful for the opportunity to testify at today's confirmation hearing. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Mayor Bowser for nominating me to this role and for placing her trust in me to guide the department, ensuring that all our small businesses are equipped with the necessary resources to flourish and significantly contribute to the economic prosperity of our city and DC's comeback. I have been proud to call the District of Columbia home for over 35 years. I first planted roots in the district in 1986 by matriculating to Howard University as an undergraduate in the School of Business's finance program. After receiving my Bachelor's of Business Administration degree at Howard, I pursued professional career options in the nonprofit, for-profit, federal, and local government sectors, which afforded me the opportunity to grow professionally and personally. Much of the growth resulted from my direct work experience with district government, advocating for small and local businesses in a number of roles. I joined DSLBD in 2019 as the Chief of Staff, later assuming the role of Deputy Director in 2023. Over the course of these 5 years, I have had the privilege of managing daily operations, which encompassed oversight of all programming in compliance, commercial revitalization, business opportunities, innovation and equitable development, certification, Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and the Office of the Director divisions. Currently, as acting director, several programs aimed at supporting our local small businesses continue to achieve remarkable success at the agency. These include the Aspire to Entrepreneurship Initiative for returning citizens, the Equity Impact Enterprise Program targeting small, resident-owned, and disadvantaged businesses, and the annual District Connect Conference, which provides our local entrepreneurs with invaluable opportunities and resources, to name a few. Before joining DSLBD, I served as the Senior Policy Advisor for the DC Deputy Mayor for Greater Economic Opportunity, where I focused on creating programs and initiatives to enhance access to local procurement opportunities for district-based small businesses. Prior to my time at DEMGO, I served as the CBE compliance officer at the Department of General Services, where I initiated and oversaw a small business program that created set-aside opportunities for local businesses interested in construction contracting with the agency. Overall, I have cultivated strong relationships with CBEs, Main Streets, and various other business stakeholders and community leaders. These relationships have been pivotal in shaping my understanding of the unique and diverse challenges and opportunities facing our local businesses. They have also equipped me with the insights and expertise necessary to effectively lead the department. Further, as the daughter of a devoted public school teacher and the first African-American mayor of Bloomfield, Connecticut, my hometown, both of my parents instilled in me the importance of civil service, breaking barriers, creating equitable access to opportunities and resources for all, and disrupting the status quo in order to achieve progress for the betterment of society. This ideology drives the way I approach my work and the overarching vision I have for how DSLBD will collectively approach our work going forward. To realize this vision, I am committed to expanding growth opportunities for equity participants, amplifying the work of local makers and creatives, supporting corridors and retailers, strengthening the CBE program, and keeping more local dollars local, all while espousing equity, transparency, accountability, ease of doing business, and overall good government. I also aim to provide entrepreneurs with unique platforms for connecting with contracting and capital opportunities, fostering growth, and building invaluable relationships within the local business community. In addition, I recognize the importance of expanding grant opportunities for retailers. These grants would provide retailers with additional resources to cover essential expenses such as utilities, rent, cleaning supplies, taxes, debt service, employee wages, and salaries. Such support is critical for retail businesses to maintain their operations and viability, which ultimately benefits the district's overall health. Lastly, I recognize the significance of leveraging technology and innovation to streamline our services. This will not only improve access to information, but also enhance overall customer experience for individuals and businesses seeking services from DSLBD. In pursuit of this, the agency has been diligently progressing toward the completion of the district enterprise system in recent years. The DES is a capital project envisioned and designed to promote ease of doing business in the district for CBEs, prime contractors, and other local businesses. It also aims to enhance streamlined cross-agency communication and increase transparency and visibility into local contracts and procurements, particularly concerning CBE participation. In conclusion, I am deeply committed to the priorities of this administration, the mission of DSLBD, and the success of our small and local businesses. My extensive experience, demonstrated dedication, and strong relationships with CBEs, Main Street organizations, and other stakeholders in the business community make me uniquely qualified for this role. I am excited about the opportunity to continue leading the department and collaborating closely with our sister agencies, the council, the small and local business community. Together, we can work towards creating a more vibrant, inclusive, and resilient economy for the District of Columbia. Again, I would like to thank Mayor Bowser for her confidence in me to further her administration's small and local business initiatives. I would also like to thank my husband, Greg, my daughter, Trinity, the rest of my family, the local business community, and the team at DSLBD for their encouragement and support throughout this process. Chairperson McDuffie, thank you and the committee for considering my nomination, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
And thank you for your testimony today and for your willingness to serve, having already served for a while now as an interim position. I got some questions for you, some of which are sort of standard questions that we ask of all nominees. And then I have some questions more specific to the position, the role, and your experience as it relates to Director of DSLBD. I'm going to begin with the standard questions. that we ask of all nominees who appear before the committee. And some of them will be a bit redundant, but bear with me. Are you a district resident? And if confirmed, do you intend to reside in the District of Columbia for the entirety of your appointment?
Yes, I am, and yes, I do.
Have you been or are you a member of any district government board or commission?
No, I am not.
Do you or does any member of your immediate family have any interest, financial or otherwise, that may directly or indirectly pose a conflict of interest for you in the performance of your duties in this role?
No, they do not.
Are you an attorney? And if so, are you a member of any state bar?
No, I am not.
Do you have any outstanding liability for taxes, fees, or other payments to the district, federal, state, or other local government, either contested or uncontested?
No, I do not.
The department's enabling legislation grants the director certain authorities and powers. With regard to that language and that statute, I want to ask you about your experience in some specific areas, which shouldn't pose any challenges given your background, but I wanted to get some of this on the record. And you touched on some of it in your opening testimony, but I want to give you an opportunity to expand on some of it. But specifically, how have your previous roles given you experience within the area of CBE compliance and enforcement? How has that prepared you for the role that you'll be serving in permanently as director of the agency?
So, my previous experience in serving and supporting CBEs and serving in a role of CBE compliance officer, for example, at the Department of General Services, gave me insight into two perspectives. That of the CBE business owner and the challenges that they faced with doing business or wanting to do business with the government, but also it gave me the perspective from the agency side in ensuring and instilling how important it was for us to work with the CBE community and not work with and diversify those CBEs that we worked with. So being able to actually do the work, I think puts me in a extremely well position to lead an agency that oversees that same work that is to be done.
Thank you for that response. Let's talk a little bit about grants and the provision of grants to those businesses that need them in the District of Columbia. Talk a little bit about what you've done in your past experience, either DSWD or otherwise, that's helped prepare you for, I think, an increasingly important role of evaluating the grant process and how best to support businesses in the District of Columbia, particularly those outside of like the downtown core.
Yeah, so I really gained experience with the grant process while at DSLBD. My entry into district government when I worked at the Department of General Services, one of the, I think, most important things that I learned working with our small businesses is something I spoke to a little bit earlier during my budget oversight hearing, is the importance of ensuring that those businesses diversify and diversify their revenue generating sources. And I think that translates also into ensuring that there is a need for grants in our small business community. But we also want to make sure that those businesses don't solely rely on that. What I think that we do, and I mentioned this in a panel discussion that I participated in on behalf of DSLBD, is that we do provide grants, resources But what I think we provide that's even more important is that technical assistance. So the grant can help you get to a certain point or complete, purchase equipment or, get your website up and running. But being able to really have that technical assistance and that knowledge that we provide that really helps sustain the business, I think is even more valuable.
I want to hone a little bit more on um, just the role and your vision for the role. Um, Talk about, and you touched on some of this, and I want to get you to talk a little bit more about what you mean when you say expanding growth opportunities for equity participants. You also, in that part of your earlier testimony, talked about supporting corridors and retailers. Let's take them one at a time. What do you mean when you say that you're committed to expanding growth opportunities for equity participants?
So what I mean by that is working not only internal within the government, but what we also do is work with our regional partners to create opportunities for our CBEs and particularly our EIEs. One of the things that we did, I think it was 2 years ago, was we had an EIE grant. So as you talked about and are well aware of, that there are times when DSLBD has in the past few years had fines issued and some large amounts of fines. And so what we wanted to do with those fines is, and those fines are a result of prime contractors not meeting their spend goals with SBE. So what we did was we took that fine money and put it back into the CBE community through grant funds. And that was the first time that that was ever done for our EIEs. Typically, grant funds at that point in time had been done for our retail businesses. So I think for us to be able to work with not only program agencies, but also regional partners to create and open up opportunities for our EIEs is important. And that's one of the things that we're committed to doing.
There are some agencies that set aside contracting opportunities specifically for SBEs. And as you know, there are laws in the books that allow sole sourcing of contracts under a certain threshold. What are your thoughts about the government's sort of role in providing those opportunities for district-based small business enterprises, and with a focus on, careful how I phrase this, particularly where those contractors happen to be awarded to minorities and women-owned businesses?
Well, I think, our CBE program is a unique program. And when I've gone to other jurisdictions, they've heard about our CBE program and talk about the CBE program. I think though the program is race and gender neutral, we do know that the majority of our small business enterprise have identified themselves as either women or people of color. And so when we focus on ensuring that our agencies are adhering to the set-aside requirement, which are contracts under $250,000 are required to be set aside for SBEs first, and then it goes to other CBEs. When we make sure that we are enforcing that, when we make sure that we are working with our sister agencies to create those opportunities, ultimately we get to that goal of creating opportunities for people of color and women-owned businesses.
What is specifically do you think is DSLBD's role in that process? Is there a role for DSLBD in working with agencies on those types of programs?
I think our role, we have a couple of roles. We have a role to ensure that we have capacity in the CBE market. And that is through working with our CBEs and providing workshops and trainings and understanding what their needs are and how we can help them grow. I think another responsibility is for us also to work within district government to, particularly with our colleagues in procuring, to create opportunities and open the door for CBEs to participate. That is our role. The third thing is, I think it is important for us to not only stay within the government, but outside the government. The goal is to ensure that we are creating opportunities for the district, small and local businesses, not only just with the government, but with other opportunities that avail themselves in the district, whether that's in the private sector or with our regional partners. So wherever there's an opportunity to put a CBE in place or create an opportunity, that is our role.
So you all have responsibility for ensuring that agencies with the expendable budget comply with the SBE, CBE spend requirements, correct?
Yes.
Do you have a role in the enforcement of agencies with expendable budgets to actually set aside contracts where those contracts are at $250,000 or less?
We don't have the role in actually setting them aside. The law requires the procuring agency to set them aside. Once those, if a contract that's under 250,000 is not awarded to an SBE and then any other CBEs, if you cannot find an SBE, then agencies are required to submit a justification for why that was set aside. And so our role is to make sure that we understand those contracts that are under $250,000 and why they were not set aside.
Thank you for that. In terms of the ability of DSLBD to grow its impact on small businesses along commercial retail corridors, again, that perhaps aren't in areas considered part of the CBD or traditionally downtown, what role, if any, do you think the agency plays, or how would you like to explore opportunities to engage or better engage those businesses?
So I believe our role is the same as it is with our professional services businesses, our CBEs, is to understand what their needs are. One of the things that I have done when I was appointed as interim is go out and talk to the businesses on the corridor. I think, oftentimes people assume what someone or business owner needs. I don't come from that ilk. I do have some years of experience that I bring to the table, but I think we need to really get an understanding of what those needs are. And so as a resource, we not only do I have a great team that is knowledgeable, but also our Main Street EDs support us in that effort. And once we understand what those needs are, we can then address those needs. I think we have programs, and as I spoke to a bit earlier, we have, grant opportunities, but again, funds are limited anywhere. And so what I think, in addition to the funds, is really having that one-on-one conversation and understanding what the needs are to help support those businesses so that they can be sustainable, and not providing a grant that it'll be beneficial, but we don't want our businesses to rely on that type of funding.
Are there any aspects of the role or the work as permanent director of DSLBD that you anticipate will be challenging? Are there any things that you are looking to address in terms of the agency's operations to make things more efficient, to make things more dynamic? Are there any areas where you're looking to innovate if confirmed as permanent director of the agency?
So in response to the challenge question, I think the challenge is the challenge that I'm going to put on myself is that you can't do everything you want to do. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try. But there's a lot of needs out there, and there are a lot of people and businesses you want to be able to help. And you just can't do it all. So you got to figure out the best way to support those businesses. For me, that's what is going to be challenging for me. I think that as far as innovating, as I spoke to before about I'm very excited about the district enterprise system that we are developing. I think from a user aspect, from whether it's our main streets, whether it's our CBEs, it's going to be transformative. We are able, and not just for the end user, but we are working with our sister agencies to collect information that'll make the work easier on ourselves. So when I came in to the district in 2012, we were doing there was a lot of paper, and I was surprised that things weren't at least online. It was a lot of manual. And so to be able to come from that and be in a position to transform that, I'm excited about.
Thank you for that response. We've obviously interacted with you. This committee has in different capacities in your tenure at DSLBD. And for the last several months as in your capacity as interim director. I don't have any additional questions for you at this time. Is there anything else that you would like to add to the record? Any questions you'd like to answer that I didn't specifically ask before we adjourn?
No, I would just like to, again, thank Mayor Bowser for this opportunity. Again, thank you, council member, for always being open and willing to work in support of not only CBEs, but all our district, local, and small businesses. I'd like to just give another shout out to my dad and my mom and my family, my husband that's here, and my team that's here to support me in this role. I could not do it without them.
Thank you for that. I'd like to thank you for your testimony at this roundtable and your willingness again to serve in this position on a permanent basis, Director. And I also want to provide a reminder to those interested in submitting written testimony for the record of this roundtable. They have until Wednesday, April 17th at 5 p.m. to do so. Submissions should be uploaded to the council's hearing management system via the website at dccouncil.gov. There being no further business before the committee, this marks the end of today's roundtable. The time is now 12:33 p.m. and this roundtable is adjourned.